grab your pen and paper, your notebooks, your protractor, your Trapper Keeper. Peter Schrager once gifted me with a Trapper Keeper.
You deserved it. It was the new, I think it was your birthday or the first day of school, but either way, it was great.
First,
sweet Velcro.
I would like to know a team, a player, a coach, anyone who is in desperate need of a bounce-back performance. Week 2, we're going to put that good juju out there this morning. Nate?
I'm going to go with
juju.
Not a Mike Tomlin. There you go. That's who I was thinking of.
Oh, really?
Speaking of juju, yeah. Forget about a player. How about Mike Tomlin? Listen, I work with Coach Cowher every Sunday, and he knows everything about the Steelers, and I can't help but to look at him in real time and think to myself, man, you gifted Mike Tomlin such a good team. And since then, he's built on that team with fantastic players. The drama with AB aside, the drama with Lev aside, they still have talent right now, but got smoked by the Patriots in week 1. So forget about Big Ben playing better, Juju having to do more, James Conner stepping up, that defense flying around and making plays. Mike Tomlin, I'm tired of the shots of going to you on the sideline and you sitting there with your neatly trimmed beard, looking as cool as ever, but glancing up at that scoreboard of y'all getting waxed. I want to see Mike Tomlin step up and be one of the better coaches in this league. He's always going to talk a good game. One of my favorite dudes in the NFL. I want them to start winning some games, and games that matter.
We saw what Dalton did to the Seahawks team. Let's see what Big Ben can do.
Absolutely, and that's some fire from Nate, because I think my take on Tomlin is retroactively he should be given every Coach of the Year award the last 10 years based on how he handled Antonio Brown, now that we're seeing Antonio Brown's antics in Oakland and all the recent stuff with him. So very interested to see how he bounces back, but I'm looking at this team here in this market. Monday night, the Jets play the Browns. So much hype for the Jets, so much energy going into that Week 1 game, so much dominance through 3 quarters, and then for the Jets to lose after being up 16-0, for the kicker to absolutely lay an egg, for the defense to be able to squander all those big plays to John Brown. Jets fans were really excited about a week ago, and they were really excited Sunday at about 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and right now they're about as low as it can be. They're doubting things. You cannot start the season 0-2 with 2 losses at home, especially the 2 second-year quarterbacks. This isn't Russell Wilson and Roethlisberger coming in and beating you. This is Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield, 2 guys who are basically pubescents in the NFL. You have to win this game. A must-win for Week 2, just for the energy and the momentum and the inertia. You can't go 0-2 at home with 2 guys that you should beat in your own building.
I just want to hear you say pubescent.
Pubescent.
Good morning, America. You mentioned the 0-2s. A listing of the holy crap, we're 0-2 power rankings that will shock you the most. The Browns and then the Bears. And I got to go back to the Steelers. Guys, the Steelers, they don't go 0-2.
Wow.
It's not what they do. The last time they did it 6 or 7 years ago, and they finished 8-8. And it's like there's a lot of juicy, spicy takes out there. I had leveled some myself about, would have been nice to have Antonio Brown on the field this year. Would have been nice to have Le'Veon. They didn't have any else. They scored 3 points in the opener. That's not Roethlisbergian. He's played 700-some games. He's only lost by 30 points twice. So the idea now that Pittsburgh would go 0-2, because is there anyone who gives a damn less than Russell Wilson about going into Pittsburgh and winning? There's about 3 or 4 guys I would not want to face this weekend. Russell Wilson is one of them. Steelers 0-2 after such a quiet professional offseason is a bad look. It's the most shocking of them by far. They got to have it.
Because both think the Steelers need a bounce back. You mentioned the Jets, and they obviously played the Browns. It's on national TV. So while you were talking, I looked up the schedule. If the Jets lose again, or the Browns lose again, woof. How do they win the division then? They have to go to the Rams, or they face the Rams week 3, then they go to Baltimore week 4.
Oh.
How do you climb out of that hole? Really tough schedule for Cleveland. A lot of people talked about it all offseason, but they got to get a win this week.
Start making
Absolutely.
They have another fantastic slate this weekend, but where's the quarterback matchup in week 2 that you think is the best?
I'm going to go with the Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh.
I think you've got 2 Super Bowl champion quarterbacks who this offseason lost some of their best weapons behind them. When Russell Wilson comes into the season and has this new contract, I can't stress enough how big the loss of Doug Baldwin is. Doug Baldwin was Russell Wilson's guy. And when Doug Baldwin got there last season, the offense picked up midway through. Last week, Tyler Lockett had one big play. That's what he tends to do. There's a couple plays from DK Metcalf. Everyone's like, all right, we're good with the running game. It's fine. That's a different team when you're playing up against the Steelers. I think Pittsburgh's going to come back and have a vengeance. And Roethlisberger, I don't know what that was. We're picking on the Steelers this morning, but both of these quarterbacks have more on their shoulders in this part of their career than ever before. And if the Steelers go 0-2, you better believe there's going to be panic in Pittsburgh over what's going on with the start of this season.
It's wild. I got a different kind of one. I'm looking at Kyler versus Lamar. That one is fascinating to me. Cardinals, Ravens. I just feel like if you had gone back to my childhood and you could look at some of the quarterbacks I watched, Boomer Esiason, Doug Williams, Troy Aikman, to be like, fast forward to 2019, this is the quarterback position. There's this little guy running around with a huge arm. Then there's this other guy who runs maybe a 4.3 and can throw for 5 touchdowns. I feel like we're in the science fiction portion of the quarterback evolution, and it is so cool. This, to me, has a little bit of the Jordan Bird game of horse in this. I don't know if Kyler has the horses like Lamar does, but I cannot wait to see this game. It feels like the future. I'm here for it.
I'm going with a very off-the-beaten-path quarterback combination or competition, and that's one guy who lit it up on Monday, and another guy who was a backup who came in and balled out. I'm going with the Jags quarterback, Gardner Minshew, versus Deshaun Watson in a game where you would think to yourself, Nate, come on, man. Deshaun Watson did his thing. You know, he almost beat Drew Brees. He was fantastic in that game. True. But so was Gardner Minshew. He was 22 for 25, over 200 yards, 2 TDs. And I know you're thinking, Nate, who cares? I care. I'm going to tell you right now, and remember I said this, Gardner Minshew and the Jags will be just fine.
Okay.
That is not an outlier that he came in after Nick Foles went down with the shoulder injury. He's going to ball out up against Deshaun Watson.
Nate, we'd have to update the holy crap 0-2 rankings. If the Texans go 0-2 and they lose to Gardner Minshew, then we got problems.
I got that matchup.
Gardner Minshew has your
Nate, are you calling your shot?
I don't know. That kind of feels like it.
Are you calling your shot of the Jags over at the Texans? Don't do it if you don't want to.
Give me a couple days.
Well, that's great TV, right, Peter?
I feel like we put out good vibes for these teams, for these bounce backs, especially with Big Ben and what he did not do in week 1. He's got the Seahawks. Andy Dalton lit up the Seahawks. So is Big Ben going to have a bounce-back fantasy performance? Break it down. And what are the Saints thinking ahead of the rematch? We're talking best quarterback matchups. Golf and breathe, guys.
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty good.
So Andy Dalton played like 9 years